If you've been studying SEO for a while, whether that's watching these videos on my channel or with somebody else, you've probably heard a lot of phrases that have been thrown around kind of in a theoretical way. You may have heard about search volume already and know that it's the monthly average of people who search for a specific term. You may have also heard about keyword difficulty, which is sometimes also called SEO difficulty or keyword competition, which is a metric to figure out how difficult it is to rank for a term in organic search. As you go to do keyword research yourself, I bet you're asking yourself, okay, but what level should I be aiming for here? Should I be aiming for a search volume that has 10,000 a month or like 10 a month or somewhere in between? How do I know what is the appropriate level for me to be achieving here? Now, it's obviously hard for me to give you personalized advice through the interwebs, through the YouTubes, but I'm going to try to share with you some general rules that my team and I use when we're creating content strategy for our one-to-one clients or giving advice in our Attract and Activate group coaching program, so that you can help figure out what the appropriate level is for you to target with your keyword research. Hi, I'm Meg Casebolt, the founder of Love It First Search, where we help online business owners to show up in search results and then turn those new visitors into leads, subscribers, and sales. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you some tips of how to decide what search volume and what keyword difficulty you should be targeting in your content. Now, something to consider before we get started with the metrics around search volume and keyword difficulty and all of that is, what's your goal here? How much traffic do you actually need? If you haven't already watched the video I made last week about trying to figure out the approximate amount of traffic that you need on your website, go watch that now, then drop back in here. As I shared in last week's video, the fewer clients that you need, the less people you need to be attracting and being discovered by regularly. If your business model is high touch and high price, then you might not need to have, hundreds of clients coming to you. You might only need a couple dozen in a given year. And if that's the case, then you also won't need to get nearly as much traffic to your website. So depending on how many customers you need to attract, the amount of people you need to be discovered by is going to be markedly different. If you have to get in front of a larger amount of people, then you're going to have to get bigger search terms. You're going to have to work your way up the difficulty ladder for a longer amount of time in order to show up in the top results of search terms that have more people looking for them. Let me give you two examples to illustrate this point. The first one is Connie Holan. She is a web designer at Pixality Design. Connie's company specializes in websites built on Squarespace for yoga and fitness businesses. And because Connie has gotten so specialized in the audience that she works with, she's able to really dominate search terms that are really specific and targeted and relevant to the audience that she's trying to reach. So because of that, Connie doesn't need to go after giant search terms. Connie doesn't need to be number one for the term fitness or for website or for Squarespace. All of those three separate terms are way too competitive. I mean, you can't compete with Squarespace against Squarespace. They have the brand awareness of it. There's no way that you're going to bump Squarespace out of number one for their own name. But because Connie has gotten so specialized in who she's trying to reach, if you look for Squarespace fitness website, she's going to show up number 3 in those search results. And when Connie and I were first looking at these numbers, she got a little concerned about the small volume of that because Squarespace fitness website only has 20 people a month looking for it. The search volume's really small there, but that's just one keyword on that topic. If you make it plural, if you say Squarespace fitness websites, then that's another 30 people a month. And just those two phrases, Squarespace, fitness, website, or websites, 20 plus 30, that's 50 searches every month on average for that one term. Connie doesn't even need 50 new clients a month. She needs like 5. So even if those were the only 2 search terms that she ranked for, then she could still potentially have a full pipeline of people. If she just got traffic from those 2 keywords, right now she ranks number 2 for one of them, number 3 for another one. That could be enough to sustain her business because she has a higher touch business model where she only needs to get a few clients a month. If those 2 keywords can bring in 3 to 5 leads a month, that might be all that she needs. Now, she does have other keywords that she's ranking for because she knows that fitness studios often use a software called Mindbody. She ranks number 1 for Mindbody Squarespace integrations. And so she knows that people who are already using these two softwares and want to figure out how to connect them, they're looking for a specialist who knows both of those tools. And so when she shows up there, that post converts really well for her. It has 5 or 6 keywords about Mindbody and Squarespace that all told add up to less than 100 search volume a month. But that one post that she wrote brings in 1 or 2 clients a month for her, for people looking specifically for those two tools working together. When Connie and I were talking last month, we were talking about what keywords she wants to pursue and target next. When she went for the very specific term, Squarespace fitness websites, that had a really small search volume of 20, and it was a pretty easy search term of keyword difficulty of 10. And now she's trying to work her way up the difficulty ladder into fitness website design. This jumps from search volume of 20 a month up to a search volume of 210 a month. So it's 10 times as many people who are searching for that. And the keyword difficulty went from 10 to 40. So it's a pretty big leap. When she goes from being in her very comfortable big fish in a small pond talking about Squarespace into a much more competitive keyword, it's going to be more difficult to rank for. Now, she doesn't even need to get all 210 of those new people who are looking for fitness website design. She just needs a small percentage, enough to keep that pipeline of people coming in, finding her, hiring from her. We don't need to even go any bigger than that 210 people a month, because if we can own that and all the other search terms that are related to that are also in that couple hundred a month, then that would be enough for Connie to not only sustain her business, but maybe also hire on a team to help her with this. You don't always need to have the target goal of your keywords be hundreds and hundreds of thousands. Connie's white whale is 200 search volume a month, and it would be enough to feed her family, right? So depending on your business model, you don't always need to go bigger. Sometimes it's better to go smaller and to really own those search terms. Even search terms that are really similar add up. It looks like there's only 200 people in that search term when you first look at this. But then there are all these other search terms that are very similar that also have a couple hundred people who are looking for them. And so those smaller search terms are often much bigger clusters of keywords that add up to much more search volume than these keyword research tools make us think there are. Remember that every page of your site can rank for an infinite number of phrases. So don't put too much stock in the search volume of one keyword. I want you to zoom out and try to understand the bigger picture of all of the different things that any given page on your website can rank for. Now let's talk about that keyword difficulty metric. Keyword difficulty is going to be a very different number based on what tool you're using. So do not, go into Google Keyword Planner and look at the search difficulty for one term and then go into Ubersuggest and look up another term and go into Keywords Everywhere and look up another term and go into SEMrush and look up another term. This has to be an apples to apples comparison. So as you're thinking about your keyword difficulty, try to hold yourself in just one tool and compare against the other keywords within that tool, as opposed to saying, well, the keyword difficulty is easier here than here. Yeah, they just calculate it differently. I just went and looked up the same term in SEMrush and Ubersuggest and Ahrefs, and in one the keyword difficulty was 30, in one it was 50, in one it was 60. This is a metric that is calculated differently based on where you are, so do not do an apples to oranges comparison. Make sure to look at it relative to everything else happening on the page within the same piece of software. That being said, when I just told you about Connie's jump from 10 to I can't remember now if it was 40 or 50. That was in SEMrush. That was the tool I looked it up in. But when Connie looked up those same things in Ubersuggest, she actually went from 15 to 60. So know that that might not be the same across multiple platforms. There's my first caveat. My second caveat is this: your keyword difficulty, whether or not you can qualify for that term, is based on your domain authority. So if you have a website that is really well established, that has a lot of backlinks, that has a lot of content, it'll be easier for you to rank for a higher keyword difficulty term than if you have a website that you just started recently. We'll link to some of our videos about domain authority here, so that way you can get an idea of calculating your domain authority. But if you're trying to figure out where you fit, what your appropriate keyword difficulty should be, I suggest that you go look up your domain authority in your SEO tool of choice, and then go look up the keyword difficulty for the keyword that you're trying to pursue in that same tool. If your domain authority is 10 or 15 below the keyword difficulty, that might be good to pursue. If the keyword difficulty is way higher than your domain authority, then that keyword might not be as easy. If that calculation just made your eyes cross and your brain kind of feel a little bit foggy, that's okay. Instead, I want you to look again at the relative numbers here. If you see two keywords that are the same search volume and one of them is easier keyword difficulty, pursue that one. Maybe you can work your way up to the more difficult keyword difficulty down the road, keep your eye on it, put a pin on it. And also, different pages on your site can rank for different keyword difficulties. Your home page is going to be able to rank for harder keywords than a blog post because your homepage has more links coming into it. You're doing more internal linking from other pages on your site to your homepage. It's at the root domain. It's kind of like the key page on your site. Whereas a blog post that you're just starting to write now from scratch, that one's going to need a lower keyword difficulty. I know that there was no straightforward calculation here about what is good and what is bad and what is right for you. If you need more help with this, come on over to loveitfirstsearch.com, download our SEO starter kit, or book a consulting call with our team and we can help you figure out the right level of difficulty based on what you already have established on your website and in your business. If this video is helpful, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel for more easy SEO tips. See you next week.